Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Raw Life Health Show. I'm so excited about today. This is my friend Joseph, and Joseph has an amazing healing story. Now, we're at his amazing farm here, and I'm going to do another video about that. I'll post the link below. And we have a short time to introduce Joseph and his brief story, but we're going to have him back on Zoom another night, and he's going to really get into the details of it. But in a couple of minutes, I know it's a long story, but tell everybody your amazing story and what happened. Because where'd you grow up?
I grew up in the UK, but I moved to America when I was about 15, 16. I went to boarding school in New Hampshire, came here when I was about 18, 19. I've been in Florida since then for almost 25, 30 years now.
How old are you now?
45.
45. Now, how old were you when you...
32.
So, when he was 32 years old, tell everybody what happened to you.
Yeah, I was 32. I got diagnosed with a stage 4 colon and liver cancer, and they didn't give me a very good, prognosis.
Now, prior to getting diagnosed, were you just not feeling well, or was it a surprise?
No, I mean, honestly, I didn't. I was going through a stressful time in my life, and this is something that we can dig in a little bit deeper. But I know, like, if you're going through a rough time, don't test yourself right away. You wait until you can figure that emotional part out, and then you test yourself a couple months later. So, long story short, is I got I didn't really feel anything tremendous, but I was seeing, I was seeing blood in the toilet, and my dad's a doctor, so he's like, check it out. So I went to like 4 doctors. Everyone was like, nah, you don't have anything. You're too young. There's no way you could possibly have it. It's just hemorrhoids. It's just nothing. But my dad was insistent because he's a bit of a hypochondriac, very neurotic when it comes to health. But sometimes that kind of pans out for him. So he insisted I went to go do another one, second opinion, third opinion, fourth. Finally, the 4th doctor found it, and it was a big tumor, and I was bleeding from a polyp. So actually, it was it was pretty bad. So when they went in there, they found a big tumor and lymph nodes and in the liver, and they so immediately got me into chemo radiation operations. I went through quite a lot of treatment, and then I realized my body was starting to slip, and it was getting overly toxified. Like the toxicity levels hit a peak. I was fine until that point, and then boom, I hit a peak, and I just couldn't take another drop of anything. My body was shutting down everything, and I almost died probably at least 2 or 3 times. Where the hospital went to give my wife papers, maybe they're like, he might not come out of here. So I get more deep into what happened at that time, but long story short is I got out early. I stopped chemo early and stopped everything early. Did
you actually get surgery?
I got 1 surgery early on, and I had a bag on my stomach for a year. So I went through all that stuff, and it was brutal. It was really, really brutal. I managed to get through that and survive, and managed to get reconnected against the doctor's wishes, because they wanted to keep giving me chemo, and I was like, I'm not doing any more chemo. So they reconnected me, and then I went to Hippocrates, and I heard about Hippocrates. My mom told me, because my mom's always been on the health side. She wanted me to go detox. So I looked for detox places, and I found Hippocrates. But when I went to Hippocrates, I found a lot more than just that. I found like a lot of the people there actually had stage 3, stage 4 cancers. And that's when I started to learn, like, oh, okay, this is, why are these people here? Like, what are they doing here? Like, and I started learning more about raw foods, juicing, all the important things in order to heal yourself. And I just came home, implemented it. I started growing my own food. I started growing on the front of the house, the side of the house, the backyard. Before you knew it, every inch of my house was full of raised beds and fruit trees and you name it. And even though I couldn't have fruit for like 3 years, that was brutal. Then after that, for 3, 4 years, neighbors started coming by, wanting to bargain with us for different stuff. So me and my wife were like, let's just, why don't we go for it? And we opened up our own farm.
Wow.
And that's how it started. And then we opened
up. And how often do you go back to get tested now, or you don't?
I was going every like year and a half to get tested at the beginning, and now it's like every I'll do like a blood test, a CA cancer marker and stuff like that. I don't like to get too heavy into into that because
Sure.
it's not good for my mind.
And
You know,
how are you eating now? How's your diet now? Vegan?
I'm still vegan. I'm not raw anymore. I did that for a long time. You know, I felt like the raw foods were difficult to digest. The greens, especially the fruit, were a lot easier. I did Hippocrates style for about 3 years. Hardcore Hippocrates, like wheatgrass 2-3 times a day, three juices a day. I did infrared saunas. I did oxygen therapy. Only raw foods. All my food that I grew from organic seed and organic soil. So everything I did 100%. And I also worked on my emotional state, my spiritual state, which is extremely untapped. And people, it doesn't get enough weight, in my opinion. I think the raw foods is 30 to 40% of the healing, and I believe the spirituality part is about 60%. In my humble opinion,
Sure.
that's from what I see, because I know a lot of people that have done the raw foods that didn't make it. So it always troubled me. I always was troubled by that, you know, and it reached me to research and search more on why this was happening. And I realized that it's, you know, the emotional state is extremely underlooked, because if you're chronically stressed all the time and your body's in fight or flight, your adrenals get triggered when you go into fight or flight. If you go into fight or flight, your body cannot heal. So it doesn't matter how much wheatgrass you eat or how many enemas you do, it's not going to matter if you're in fight or flight constantly. Sure. So you're going to eliminate the fight or flight first. When you do that, then all this stuff works great. So that's what I believe saved me. Was I went to Anthony in Hippocrates.
Yes.
He did some rapid eye
Yes.
movement thing on me. I don't know what he did to me, but whatever he did to me, my tests were negative after seeing him.
Wow.
I thought it was the raw foods. And it could have been a combination. I don't know what it was.
Sure.
Because I did so many different things. So a lot of people are like, oh, it was the chemo. I was like, well, look at all these people that did chemo. They're all dead.
Yeah.
Everyone I know that had what I had that went conventional are dead. Find me someone that had what I had that's still alive. I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. My mom had what I just had. She didn't make it. So, and that was very hard for me. It was very hard for me. I just came back a couple weeks ago from London. I was with her.
Did she do the Hippocrates diet a
No.
little? No,
She couldn't do it.
Okay.
She could, but she did it with me when I was going through it years ago, but she just didn't really. I don't know. She was too far along when she realized she had it, but apparently it must be hereditary because she had exactly the same one as me. But when I had it, the doctors said it wasn't hereditary because no one in my family had it.
I see.
But I later found out my mom had it, and it was exactly the same one that I had.
Wow.
I made it, she didn't.
Wow. Well, we're going to have Joseph on the show and a lot more extensively getting into everything he did and his whole process. But I wanted to have him on today to tell you right now, if you're watching this and you have cancer of any stage or know someone who does, what message would you share to them out there? If somebody's dealing with cancer or knows someone, a loved one who is, what message would you give them now? This is coming from somebody at stage 4 cancer, pretty much given a death sentence more than once, and here he is now, over 10 years later, and doing fine. What would be your message to people out there?
I don't think that there's a magic pill for this. I don't believe it is. I think it goes deeper, and that's why I think we need to discuss that in a little bit more length. But definitely work on the emotional health, work on your relationships, because most of people's illness comes from, traumatic experiences that happened in their life. As foo-foo as that might sound to some people, emotion can go into your cells. And there's actually a book, you're probably aware of it. It's called The Healing Codes by Dr. Alex Lloyd. I did that also, by the way. I did so many different things. But the most important thing I would do before anything else is work on eliminating your fight or flight. Because if you have a degenerate disease, a stage 4 cancer or anything like that, most likely your body's in fight or flight. That means that your adrenals are triggered and your body is just working on fighting or running, and it's not handling the cancer cells on what it's supposed to be doing. So first thing I would do would be go to psychotherapists to work on emotional traumas, release those, work on spirituality, make sure you get heavy in spirituality, whatever it may be. It could be religion, it could be whatever it is, but whatever resonates with you, work on that to help release any emotional stressors. And then after doing that, or at the same time, work on the physical body, which is, fasting, intermittent fasting. I usually don't eat until 4 or 5 p.m. every day. So I don't eat breakfast. I don't believe breakfast is the most important meal of the day at all. I think, breaking fast, I mean, it's pretty explanatory what it is. So fasting is great for you. Obviously the juicing is incredible. Raw foods are great. I would be careful with raw veggies solely, personally, because you can develop leaky gut from that. I found if, pumping your body with very alkalizing foods all the time can dilute your stomach acid, and then your body doesn't break down the food like it's supposed to. And that's what I've found with a lot of people that have been doing this a long time. That's what I've personally done. I did fruit. And I also did. I don't know if you know Dr. Morse.
Yeah.
I did his protocol for about 2-3 years also. So I did Hippocrates for 2-3 years, and then Dr. Morse for 2-3 years. So I was raw vegan for about 6-7 years, and now I do a mixture of cooked and raw.
Sure.
Because I like a little cooked food once in a while. I have some vices.
Yes.
So.
Alrighty. Well, powerful information. Like I said, we're gonna have Joseph back on. I'm gonna put a link below to his farm. It's a wonderful farm, and I'll put a link to the video that I did with him for that as well for my gardening channel. And it's an amazing place he has here. He has an amazing story. And be encouraged out there. If you are suffering,
Yes.
you can get past this because there's a good amount of people.
One last thing I'd like to say is whenever you get diagnosed, people they'll scare you into doing whatever they deem. You need to go with what resonates with you. Whether it's the right choice or wrong choice, it's always going to be the choice that you were supposed to take. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, doctors, if you listen to them entirely, if they say, you're going to die in 6 months, you will die on that day, if you believe that. So, I'm not saying not to listen to doctors. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, be careful what you believe, because your belief is what your end result will be. If you truly believe that you're going to die in a year, then you'll most likely die in a year. So I didn't believe that I had 6 months to live. I didn't believe that. And that was very important for me. I can't explain how important that is. I don't think there's words to explain how important that is. When you take the power back and you have your own life and your own power in your hands, it's a different kind of feeling. You're not afraid anymore. And that's fear will cripple your decision making. As you can see now in our world, fear cripples people into making intelligent decisions. So, be careful. Fear is not, I don't want to say it's your enemy, but keep it close. But don't let it succumb and take you over.
Okay. Well, everybody, I pray that this information is hitting home with you, and we pray for your healing, and we thank you for being on the show. We're glad you're doing all
Thank you.
well,
Yeah,
and
still
keep up
kicking.
the great work. All right. All right, thank you, everybody, for your comments and questions below the video. Until then, have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.